Welcome to the Living Lighter Facebook show. This morning, I'm your host, Sally Thibault. Today, we're talking what sleep got to do with weight release and aging well. Can't wait to get into this one. Welcome to the show on this glorious Saturday morning. Wherever you are, I'm hoping you are well and you have your cup of tea ready. I have mine in my beautiful cup. I got into just drinking tea out of a cup and saucer. My sister started me on the habit, and I just love my lemon and ginger, my doTERRA lemon and ginger, and my hot water in the morning, my cup of tea. And welcome. I'm really, really, really excited to bring this show to you today. I have been researching this topic now for myself for a couple of weeks, and I've got to tell you the benefits I'm starting to really feel. I woke up this morning just wide awake, full of energy. I was ready for the show an hour ago. And we started at 7:30, so that's how early I was up this morning, just really full of energy. And I'm really passionate about this, helping you to get a good night's sleep. We're going to talk about what's got to do with weight in particular, weight release, and why you could be struggling with releasing the weight that no longer serves you if you are not getting a good night's sleep. I'm going to be talking about the foods that that contribute to not getting a good night's sleep, and the foods that do contribute to getting a good night's sleep. And I'm going to share with you one of my big ahas right at the end of the show. And we are going to talk about how things like essential oils can really benefit, why it's really important as we age that we really look at our sleep and how we are getting a good night's sleep. And it's my birthday coming up this week, and this realization that this is the last birthday I have to pay full price for the tram. You can figure out how old that is. As of next year, I'll be of that age where I get half-price tickets on the tram and get into movies for half price. But, that kind of realization hit me, and I thought, how do I want to spend the next 30, 40 years of my life? And I want to spend it well. So everything that I do right now is about that, focusing on how do I spend the next 30 or 40 years of my life, and I want to be well. And so we're going to kind of do that bit of a theme for the Living Lighter show. And this one today is sleep. So I'll just pop on and say hello to everybody. Good morning, Deborah. Great to have you here. Morning, Sally. You're at Longreach. It's cold. Yes, it's not cold here, I don't think. I haven't been outside yet, but the sun is shining. But I know my sisters in Melbourne were telling me it was really cold there yesterday. And I have a sister that lives at Bacchus Marsh, which is just outside of Victoria, outside of the bubble, by the way, too. And they had sleet yesterday, sleet in the middle of the day. Go figure. Go figure. All righty, let's get into this. So this is an issue many of my clients face. And as I mentioned yesterday on an Instagram story I did, as I've been researching this, I recognize that from the time that I turned about 45, that perimenopausal stage of my life and into menopause, I think I was sleep deprived for about 15 years. And when I look back now on what I was doing during those times and why I was doing it, I understand why I was adding to that difficulty of sleep, simply by stress I was under, hormones all out of balance, as you can imagine. But because the hormones were out of balance and I was stressed, guess what? I was eating all the wrong things. And I'm going to share a little bit more about that, as I said, at the end of the show. So it's like a feedback loop. You don't feel good. You've got no energy. So you eat foods that try and give you that quick pickup, which are the worst things you can be eating to get a good night's sleep. So you don't get a good night's sleep. You wake up tired, starts all over again. So we're gonna tackle all that today. Right, let's look at the first research study. This was there's lots of research studies on sleep, lots and lots and lots and lots. But this was really interesting. This is from the Warwick Medical School in the UK. This was a major review, and they found that short sleep duration increased the likelihood of obesity by 89% in children. Isn't that incredible? 89% in children and 55% in adults. Now, as I said, this is just an excerpt of one of the studies I read, but I just thought this was really particularly interesting. This was a long-term study, a major review and peer-reviewed. And, I don't like the terminology obesity at all, because I just think that, we've been focused too much on thinness as being about wellness, and of course it isn't. But it's when you know if you're carrying that, particularly around the middle section, that visceral fat, that you just don't feel comfortable. So this is what I'm talking about. It's that type of thing when you don't feel comfortable. This is not about being a size or a weight, but when you feel comfortable. But interesting enough, 55% in adults, 89% in children. So let me share a little bit why that happens, and the two hormones that are involved in this process. And as my clients know, I talk about this all the time. First one is ghrelin. It's a hormone released in the stomach that signals hunger in the brain. So ghrelin is released when you feel hungry. That's the hormone. So that keeps us, ensuring that we're eating. Its counterpart is leptin. It's a hormone released from the fat cells, and it suppresses hunger and signals fullness to the brain. So when you're hungry, ghrelin implements, and so then you eat. So when you're eating, leptin is the hormone released from the fat cells. Is okay? You've had enough. That's it. Done. Leptin needs some time to be implemented into the body, and one of the challenges I sit with my clients is, slowing down their eating. But this is a really interesting study that I found and explains it. So a study of over 1,000 people at Stanford found that those who slept for short durations had 14.9% higher ghrelin levels and 15.5% lower leptin levels than those who get adequate. So what does that mean? Well, it means that those hormones that signal hunger and when you've had enough are like switched. So the hunger hormone isn't working properly. So that's higher, makes you think you're more hungrier than what you really are. And the leptin level is lower. So when you're not getting enough sleep, your hormones in your body are not signaling to you when you've had enough. And, when we talk about intuitive eating, we talk about listening to your body, knowing when you've had enough. But if these two hormones aren't in balance, then it's very difficult to practice intuitive eating. Very difficult. The next one was really interesting. In addition, the hormone cortisol is higher when you don't get adequate sleep. So the hormone level's higher when you don't get adequate sleep. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that your stress levels, anxiety levels are higher. That's really messing with your body's ability to process foods, because in particular, it causes your cells to become insulin resistant. So the excess insulin makes you hungrier and tells the body to store more fat. So if you're not getting a good night's sleep, the hormones that you rely on to help you, be that you'll find your perfect set point of your weight aren't working properly. Now, to make matters worse, it becomes a vicious cycle. The less you sleep, the more weight you gain. The more weight you gain, the harder it is to sleep. So the ability to get a good night's sleep is imperative to work alongside intuitive eating. I'm going to explain what aspect of intuitive eating in particular that is really for. Now, so my next question when I was researching this was, okay, well, if not enough sleep is bad for you, what has too much sleep done? Well, interestingly enough, too much sleep, like 10 hours or more, except if you're a teenager, of course, raises the risk of chronic diseases such as coronary heart disease, diabetes, anxiety, and obesity again. in adults 45 and over. So if you're super tired and you're sleeping too much, it's just as bad. What you've got to do is find that wonderful set point that's perfect for you. So I'm going to move on now, and I'm going to share how you do it. But before we go, I just want to mention I have a couple of spots available for coaching coming up. I only got two. I very seldom have free coaching sessions available. Free? What I mean free? I mean time, not free. I've tapped on that. I have some coaching sessions available. Only two actually is all I've got. So if you're looking for some help to live lighter and fix this stuff with sleep and your weight and get rid of the stories that no longer serve you. We've had some great breakthroughs with clients this week. Amazing. 2 weeks ago, we had massive breakdowns, many of my clients. And I love that, though, because when they have massive breakdowns, they have massive breakthroughs. And every client this week had incredible breakthroughs. And just, as you can see, I just put a smile on my face and amazing. So if you're ready for some breakthroughs, click on the link and book in for a free strategy session. We can have a chat, see if and how I can help you. Rightio, let's move into the suggestions to help you sleep. Drum roll. Now, these are ones that I've been implementing over the last period of time. These are the ones that I found have really worked for me. And I'm starting to implement these with my clients who are also reporting that they're sleeping better. So let's look at the first one. So if you have trouble falling asleep, this is one thing I don't have trouble with. I'm asleep on the couch by 7 o'clock. I have no trouble falling asleep. But if you do, number one, reduce technology, especially the blue light. So if you notice, if you've ever watched a TV screen on the wall, like if you've got a TV on the wall, but you watch the light of the TV on another wall, it flickers. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but it just flickers ever so slightly. That light impacts on your production of melatonin. Melatonin is produced when the sun goes down. So our bodies naturally get us ready for sleep. If we have artificial light, too much artificial light, that melatonin doesn't produce. So if you're watching, looking on your phone at night, if you are watching TV at night, that can impact on the melatonin production, which doesn't allow for the body's natural sleep cycle to begin. So watch that, how much TV that you're actually watching. Make sure it's off maybe 30 minutes, an hour or so before bed. No phones in the bedroom if you can possibly help it. I have my phone, and I'm going to say here, because my children live overseas, I just have this thing that if they need to contact me in the middle of the night when they're up during the day, I don't want my phone in the bathroom. I stick my phone under my bed. So if something happened, they can still contact me. But for most of us, if you can put the phone in another room, that would be great. But I'm just going to be honest here and say that I don't. I keep mine in my room, but I keep it under my bed. When I get up in the morning, I got to pull it up so I can meditate. Anyway, read or meditate before sleeping. I found for me reading or meditating, I love when I'm as I'm getting prepared to sleep. I actually meditate like in my mind. I don't have the music playing because when it goes off, I pull my earphones out and start all over again. But I just practice that sort of deep body, relaxing, breathing, holding the breath for a count of 10, releasing it, holding it for a count of 10, doing it again. I find that really helpful. EFT is brilliant for sleep. What I found really works for me is not actually physically tapping on the points, but imagining I am. I found if I was tapping on the points that it kind of woke me up anyway. But what I do is lie there and actually physically, like imagine in my mind, I am actually tapping on each of the points. And as I'm tapping, I'm just breathing and tapping on the words, it's time for sleep. I'm ready for sleep. I'm letting all this go. I'm ready for sleep. And just imagining that I am tapping rather than actually physically doing, because I found that woke me up. So that's if you're having trouble falling asleep. I also want to share some essential oil blends that have really worked for many of my clients. Vetiver is the one that many people in doTERRA talk about, Vetiver. which smells really strongly. I'll share how to put it on in one. Lavender Peace, not lavender, but Lavender Peace. They've got a beautiful Lavender Peace blend. Roman Chamomile, which is another one. Copaiba, which is one of their new ones. And Juniper Berry. And let me tell you, if you put Vetiver, Lavender Peace, and Juniper Berry together, they don't smell good. But here's the key. You put it on the just under the big toe. So there's a faster intake for the essential oils through the feet. So they use that a lot with children with autism. They put the essential oils on their feet before they put their socks on for going to school, so that some kids are really hypersensitive to the smell. But you can put it on your feet, and so just rub it under the big toe. I found that really helped rather than it smells terrible. Don't like it. The other one, they've got a new one called Adaptive, which has been showed really good benefits for anxiety and stress. I've got that by my bed, and I just rub that in the back of my neck and the balls of my feet before I go to sleep. So that's another one. So essential oils are lovely, and that's going to sleep. Now, if you're having trouble staying asleep, where we used to live before we moved into this apartment, where we lived was a very dark. It was in the end of a long road, and it was a gated community, and it was dark, like you couldn't see a thing. The minute we turned our lights off, it was literally dark. But when we moved to our apartment, oh boy, street lights and building lights, and it took ages for me to get sleep. And a friend of mine suggested a sleep mask. I'd never used one before. Just remember those ones. Remember those ones I used to give you when you traveled? Remember those days on the plane? I had one of those. And what a difference it makes. I couldn't believe it. People had told me about sleep masks, but I really never tried them. But I just love it. Just because I think what I used to do is I would kind of go to wake up about 2 o'clock in the morning. Because it's dark, I'll just go straight back to sleep again. I don't even know if I'm waking up in the morning, that 2 a.m. thing. Got to be careful, though, if you need to go to the bathroom. Remember to take your sleep mask off. Could run into things. I've done that. I'm just saying that because I did that once, walked into the wall. Remember to take your face mask off. Number 2, put oils on a tissue inside your pillowcase or leave it on the bedside table. So if you wake up, at 2 o'clock, smell the oils, or pop it in the pillowcase, and that can put you back to sleep really quickly. Again, you can use EFT to get you back to sleep. Now, I'm going to move on to foods. What you should and shouldn't avoid, but I'm just going to hop onto the comments for a minute. Sally Martin, 9 degrees in Longreach. Oh, that's cold. That's a dry cold too. That'd be really cold, Sally. Morning, Deborah. Do you have an RDIF case on your phone? If you have it under your bed, what's an RDIF case? Deb, what's an RDIF case? If you just let me know what that is, because I have no idea. But I'm interested. Morning, Kathy. Sleep tips appreciated. Thank you. You're welcome. And we'll just keep going. So just let me know if any of these are ringing true for you. We're going to move into foods. Number 1 for waking up at 2 a.m. And when I figured this out, it's made all the sense in the world. Avoid sugar, chocolate, and dessert before going to bed. Now, when COVID first hit and we were into lockdown, we got into the habit, Jerry and I, of having chocolate at night, dark chocolate, whatever. Now, I married a Canadian. He loves his dessert at night, especially apple pie and ice cream. You can't take, you can take the boy out of the prairies in Saskatchewan, but you can't take the prairie out of the boy. He loves apple pie and ice cream or chocolate at night. And so I can't say I have it sometimes, not a big deal. But during lockdown, I noticed I got into this habit of having chocolate at night. I don't know why. Stress, I don't know. It just got a habit. But interestingly enough, here's what happens. If you eat sugar, chocolate, dessert at night before you go to bed, chocolate contains caffeine and sugar as well. What happens is you get a spike in your blood sugar level. But you know what happens with a spike in your blood sugar level? at some point, it's a drop. Now, if you have, say, a piece of chocolate around 8 o'clock at night and you go to bed around, 10:30, 11:30, that blood sugar level is starting to fall, and it's going to hit about 6 or 7 hours after you go to bed, or after you've eaten it, rather, I should say, after you've eaten it. So when the blood sugar level drops, the hormone cortisol kicks in to elevate your blood sugar level again. Have you ever woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning worrying about things? Guess what? Because your cortisol levels are high, and then that really messes with your melatonin. And so if you're the type of person that goes to bed and struggles around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, check to see if you're having something sweet, dessert, chocolate, whatever it is, before you go to bed at night, or if you're having dessert. Now, I would recommend keeping a sleep journal. That's what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks. And I've been monitoring my sleep. And I have to say the foods we're eating at night are impacting. We had pasta 3 nights ago, I think. I remember we had pasta, and I made spinach and mushroom, and I've got this beautiful vegan Parmesan cheese, which I'm now in love with, made from yeast flakes and I can't remember what, cashews, I think. It's delicious. And that was what I had for dinner. I woke up at 2 a.m. because the simple carbohydrates, and I went, oh, far out. That's it. I got it. Okay, that's what. So you've got to kind of figure this out. You know, make a sleep journal, and what you're eating at night, make sure it's not impacting you, not waking up 2 a.m. in the morning. All right. Now here's another thing: foods high in tryptophan, or those foods which help to produce melatonin, are the foods that can help you sleep well. Okay, foods that are high in tryptophan. Here you go: turkey. That's what, Thanksgiving dinner, everybody falls asleep, or Christmas dinner. Thanksgiving dinner in the US. I always used to love this in Canada. They'd all wait for the game, right? Because on Thanksgiving they play a football game. Everyone go to sleep first. It's the turkey. Turkey is a tryptophan. Cottage cheese, cherries. Now this was really interesting. This was a study that was done at Stanford on cherries, and the cherries contain tryptophan, and showed that people eat cherries. Now we don't have cherries here at Christmas time, but sour cherries, dried cherries, canned cherries actually helped sleep, and especially in older people, which was really interesting. Bananas are another one, helps the body produce melatonin. Oatmeal and whole grain toast. So if you're used to having chocolate at night or dessert at night, why not try? You could try whole grain toast with banana on it, or just the banana, or turkey, and see if it makes a difference. Last night for dinner, our favourite dinner at the moment, I know it's terrible, we said to Dream, we must be getting old, but one of our favourite Friday night dinners, we love whole grain sourdough bread. Jerry makes pesto. We put pesto on top of that, avocado, tomato, and an egg, and we've got some microherbs on top of it, and that, I'm assuming, okay, turkey, get the tryptophan, must be in the eggs too. Not that I can get turkey eggs, but there must be something in the poultry. And I said to him this morning, I've woken up, I feel so alive today, and I slept really well. Interesting. I'm going to keep doing my sleep journal, but have a look at that. So staying away from the sugary chocolate, because chocolate's got caffeine in it, remember? So even if it's a little bit of dark chocolate, it's going to push that cortisol, blood sugar levels peak and drop. So turkey, cottage cheese, cherries, bananas, oatmeal, whole grain toast are good foods high in tryptophan, helps the body produce melatonin. Let me check those comments again. Oh, it stops radiation, Deb. Okay, cool. Anti-radiation technology. Excellent. I'm going to check that out. Thank you, Deb. Kay, always eating chocolate and sugar in the evening. Yeah, Kay. I mean, maybe switch to gluten-free bread. I know you don't like it, but maybe gluten-free bread with banana on it. I'm wondering whether things like oatmeal cookies with some dried cherries in it, and using maple syrup or rice malt syrup instead of sugar might be. I'm going to experiment that this week. But I've got to tell you, I haven't been having sugar now for 2 weeks at night. I kind of feel so much better anyway. I mean, chocolate's okay to have. I'm just not going to have it 2 hours before I go to bed. Really, I want this. I'm really now focused on aging well, and we spend a third of our lives sleeping. I want to make sure it's really good sleep. Deb, liver is also dealing with the types of food at that time. That's exactly right, Deb. The Chinese call it liver hour, don't they? And it is exactly that. So it's with the types of foods. Alcohol is not great, because now it's interesting. The reason alcohol isn't good at night is because it makes you snore, and that causes you to wake up. It causes sleep apnea. Interesting. I love this topic, don't you? Let me know if you love this topic. It's something that I've never really, I don't know, I've never really focused on before. Like, I kind of know about it, and when you're not getting enough sleep, when you struggle with sleep. And as I said before, it's like this feedback loop. In fact, when you don't get enough sleep, the brain, the cognitive part of the brain isn't making the decisions right. We tend to reach for foods that have a quick fix, carbohydrate type food, chocolate, muffins, those types of things, if you're not getting enough sleep. So it's like it's this continual feedback loop all the time. So, in intuitive eating, how does this play a role? The third aspect of intuitive eating in the 4-step methodology is intentional eating. So when you set the intention, for me, for instance, I set the intention I wanted to have a good night's sleep, because the more I'm studying this, the more I'm researching this, the more I recognize how important it is for longevity, in particular, and aging well. Because of that, my body is letting go of any of the cravings of sugar. So it's very easy to stop eating sugar at night, because I just, oh gosh, let's keep me awake. I choose not to do that. The affirming, I choose not to do that. I want a good night's sleep. It's so good for me, and I want to do it well. So that's kind of a bit of a focus for us at the moment, is how are we sleeping, keeping a sleep journal, making sure that dreaming, I'm recording my dreams, all that stuff. So it's imperative, really, and it plays a huge role in intuitive eating. I did a blog post about this this week, when I was saying, this is the one part. There's two. Well, there's number 3 and number 4 part of the intuitive eating that most people don't get. Number 1 is setting the intention and honoring the messages your body sends because you set the intention. That's how the brain works. And number 2 is, how does food make you feel? And so when I recognized that I wasn't sleeping well, and I was gaining weight around the midsection, and I'm short, so a couple of kilos, and I really feel it, and I don't like that feeling of like, I just know it. I just wasn't functioning well. So what's going on? What have I changed? What's different? When you make that intention to change something, that's when it aligns with intuitive eating. I hope that makes sense. All right, go back to the comments. Just Rani, yes, good morning. Chocolate, the worst offender. I know, right? Right. So you can have chocolate, but just not at night. Ooh. Easy to choose at 7:30 in the morning, but much harder at 9 p.m. Yeah, but that's that intention. Like when I was kind of dawned on me which birthday was coming up, I thought, oh, I have to get pretty serious about this stuff. Now I'm pretty serious about it, I want to age well, but I'm really serious about this. I'm going to spend a third of my next 30 years sleeping. I want to make sure I do it well. Like anything else I do. In case you didn't notice, achiever type personality, right? So I want to do things well, and that includes aging well. So we are almost at the end of the show. So just let me know if you have any questions before we finish up about sleep. Tell me, is there something that was a bit of an aha for you today about what you could change? I'm always a great believer in, you just change one thing. Just change one. Don't try and change. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So for me, it was I choose no longer to eat chocolate at night. It was it was just a habit for a couple of days. Now it's just no thanks. My sleep is really valuable to me now. And just as I said, by the way I woke up this morning, I thought, wow, I can really feel the difference now. 2 weeks into this, I can feel the difference. And I want this. I like this sleeping well. And besides, I have pretty cool dreams at the moment. So really cool dreams. All right. Again, if you would like to book in for a free strategy session, the link is here. Let me just get this up, put it in the comments. How I can help you. As I said, I've got some. It's just been just a fabulous week for me this week in seeing the results my clients are achieving, the breakthroughs that they're experiencing. It's just wonderful. And that's the thing. As we age, we have to do it well. And I think that's what exactly, Kathy. Think COVID caused many people to want to nurture. I absolutely agree with you. It's interesting how coming out of this, there's a whole heap of things coming. Mental health awareness is big time at the moment, but also our own wellness. Is there any time in history where we should be focused on our wellness, our immunity, sleeping well, eating right food? It's right now. It's right now. And you're right. Kathy, as you said about talking about COVID, I was talking to my sisters yesterday, and you can feel they're in Victoria. You can feel this starting to really start to overwhelm people and really get to them. It's for anybody on the show this morning that's from Melbourne, we are thinking about you. It's tough, and I think they're only in week 3 right now. We've got more to go, and it's cold, and as my sister said last night, good night for sausage rolls and watching the football. So they healthy sausage rolls? Probably not. All right, lovely friends, have a great day, a wonderful weekend. Let me know how you go with your sleep. I'm going to check in with you next week and see how you've gone, if those little strategies have made all the difference, because what I would really love for you is to live lighter and age well. I shall see you this time next week on the Living Lighter Show. Thanks for being on. Bye for now.